Hello everyone, my name is Aditya Gupta and today I'm going to present a project on malware analysis on files that have been transferred or downloaded within the network via YARA rules. So the problem statement for this project is that we need to find an effective way to detect an malware files, either a static file or an executed file that have been downloaded into the network system, so that we can take some actions before it causes any harm to our system. So for this problem, I'm going to use mainly two tools. First is a Y-sharp tool or the T-sharp tool, and the other tools used for assessing and analyzing the malwares within the files. Again, I'm going to write a Python script which is going to use both of these tools and try to analyze the malware files like PDF file or the executive file or the JPEG file. So what YARA rules do is that it is a pattern matching technique which try to find a pattern of any existing virus or the malware files that have been discovered so far and trying to look for that pattern within any particular file. And if there is a match, then that file is indicated as a potential malware or a virus. You can try to look for a hash value of any particular malware or viruses that have been discovered yet so far, and try to look into those files whether there's a matching pattern found in those files or not. If it is matched, then that file is a potential malware or a virus. So the system environment and the tools that I'm going to use for this project is as follows. The tools are YARA rules and the Y-sharp or the T-sharp. The programming language that I'm going to use to write my scripts are Python and Python 3. And the system environment, the software that I'm going to use is VMware. And the OS that I'm going to run over this VMware is Kali Linux. So this is the flowchart of my program, that how it's going to perform its task. So first, this is a script that is going to run every 1 hour using cron job. And what this is going to do is that it's going to invoke the Y-sharp tool, and this tool is going to collect all the network packets for the past 1 hour and going to dump that as a pcap file in any particular folder. And from that folder, it's going to get that pcap file and extract all the payloads for the past 1 hour. And it's going to dump those files in this folder. Then after finishing that task, it's gonna invoke another Python script which is going to check for potential malwares within those extracted files using YARA rules. So this script is gonna get all the files from the folder and run a YARA script against those extracted files. Let's just suppose if there is no virus detected, then it's simply just gonna log that there is no file detected for this particular scan. Uh, but if there is one or more than one file that have been matched as a potential virus or malware, then it's gonna create the list of those files and send an email alert by invoking another script to the respective security person or the network analyst or anything, uh, and telling him that there have been some files that have been flagged as a malware or the virus, and you have to have a look at those files, and just gonna send along with that email the list of all the files. So before going further, let's just look at the structure of the YARA rules. YARA rules are completely customizable. You can define your own YARA rule for your project. For this project, I've used the YARA rules from the researchers and the main developer of the YARA rules. But if you want to define your own rule, you can do so as I've explained. So to do that, you have to follow this instruction. Basically, there are four parts of YARA rules. In first part, you define the rule name, and parallelly, if you want to associate a few tags with it, you can do so. In the second part, it's the meta description part. Uh, in this part, if you want to describe what this rule is all about, if you want to describe further that how it's going to work and what it is and so on, you can do so in part 2. In part 3, if you want to define any set of strings or a pattern that you want to match, or if you want to look into the extracted file, then you can define those patterns in this section, like the hash value of any existing malware, and you can define that pattern in section 3. And in section 4 is the condition section. Let's just suppose if you want to check this rule against just PDF files, you can define that condition in this section. Let's just run towards the lifetime of my project. So this is the folder structure of my project that it's going to use. The PCAP files will be stored within this folder, and this folder is storing all the YARA rules. And this is the first file, the Python script that is going to run and come and extract all the payloads from the PCAP file and store it in a particular folder. So let's just run it. So right now, what it's going to do is it's going to extract all the payloads from the extracted PCAP file and going to store it in a folder named test file. As you can notice that a folder have been created and all the payloads have been stored within that folder. And from this point, uh, you can see that the output is like this. So this output shows what kind of malware that has been detected so far. And now, as you can see, this is the email text structure that will be sent to the respective person. And so far, there have been 19 files detected as malware. So let's look at the email ID. Yeah. So the email that the person is going to receive will look something like this. Is going to define the situation that okay, there is an SOS situation which requires their attention, and this is the list of files that have been flagged as malware, and the person can just look for these files within the network and try to mitigate and protect the network system before it causes any harm. So this is how it's going to perform this task. And looking at the program, this is the structure of the program. This first line is going to export all the payloads that are using HTTP protocol. In the next, all the payloads that are using Samba protocols. The third is going to export all the payloads that are using IMF protocol, and the fourth line is going to export all the objects that are using the TFTP protocol. Then it's going to invoke the second Python script. In this script, it just simply first gonna get the path of the extracted folder, and it's gonna pass that into this get list of infected file function. First is gonna compile all the YARA rules that have been defined in the YARA rules folder. Then one by one, it's gonna get all the files from the directory path that we have passed. And once it is extracted, then we're gonna capture that file against the compiled YARA rules. So if there is any match or number of matches, so there will be a list of those potential matches. It's gonna store in this variable. If there is any match, then it's gonna be of length more than one. And if that's so, it's gonna just append that file in this list, and that list will be returned at last to this variable. This variable now, or this list contains now all the list of files that have been flagged as malware. And again, if there is any detected file, that its value should be greater than 0, then it's gonna invoke this send email script attached with the list of all the files. And then this is just simply gonna pass through all the list of files and gonna attach it to the main body of the SMS, and it's gonna send it to the respective person. And the mail that I've already shown you will look something like this. So that is all for this demo. Thank you for your attention and listening to this project. And if you have any doubt, please leave that doubt in the comment box below. I'll try to answer those doubts as soon as possible and to my best. Thank you.